Have you ever wondered how it felt to start every single morning wrestling with 30 pounds of fabric, 8 layers of clothing, and a metal cage around your hips? Did you know women sometimes fainted just from getting dressed, or that men's collars were starched so stiff they could cause strangulation? And why, exactly, would someone wear a wool vest in summer or shoes 2 sizes too small? So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Watch until the end, because every detail will leave you in disbelief. You stand at the edge of a dim washroom, fingers trembling as you lace your corset tighter still. You're aiming for that coveted 18-inch waist, though your lungs already feel like grapes in a wine press. If you're a man, you're fiddling with a cravat, folding and pinning it with near-surgical precision. Morning dressing isn't just a routine, it's a ritualized struggle with hooks, buttons, and stays. Depending on your station, you might need a maid or valet just to get your trousers on. By the time you're ready, you've likely lost half a pint of sweat and all the will to live. Historians still argue whether people truly tolerated these rituals daily, or reserved the full regalia for special events. But diary entries and laundry logs suggest it was, tragically, pretty standard. Oh, and if you're hoping for elastic waistbands? Sorry, not invented yet. You step outside, finally dressed, and instantly judged. Every thread you wear, every hemline and hat brim, announces who you are, how much you're worth, and what corner of society you occupy. A lace collar might signal wealth, but the wrong fabric, say, cotton instead of fine lawn, will out you as a middle-class imposter faster than you can say, petticoat. If you're a lady of status, your day dress includes yards of silk, hand-stitched embroidery, and perhaps even imported trim, just to whisper, I don't have to work. If you're a servant, your dress is simpler, darker, cheaper, meant to blend into the background, not command the room. Clothing rules weren't just social, they were legally enforced in some places. Sumptuary laws might dictate who could wear certain colors or trims. Even the length of your coat tails or width of your bonnet brim could raise eyebrows or lower your chances at marriage. Historians still argue whether working-class folks ever found creative ways to pass for wealthier. Some say borrowed accessories and second-hand tailoring were a quiet rebellion. A quirky tidbit? Rich men sometimes padded their calves to appear more masculine, proving once again that fashion has always been theater. So yes, in the 1800s, your outfit isn't just for show, it's a full-blown resume on your back. By mid-morning, you're already regretting everything you're wearing. That tightly boned bodice, digging into your ribs, the cravat, slowly strangling your joy, and the shoes, handmade. Yes, but stiff as coffin wood and just as breathable. Fashion, in the 1800s, is a slow form of torture, delivered in silk, satin, and sometimes arsenic. Literally, some green dyes popular in dresses and gloves were laced with arsenic compounds like Scheele's green, causing sores, nausea, or worse. Beauty truly came at a price, and not just at the haberdasher's. Smell, too, was part of the ensemble. You don't bathe often, maybe once a week if you're fancy, so you rely on heavy perfumes and sachets to mask body odor. Those ruffled collars and puffed sleeves? They aren't just stylish, they're catching your sweat before it stains the furniture. Historians still argue whether people were nose blind to each other's funk or just pretending not to care. Some women even wore wax flowers that melted under body heat, creating a mildly floral fog that sounds nicer than it smelled. And yes, those grand hoop skirts? Beautiful fire hazards near any open flame. One twitch too close to the fireplace and you're a human torch in taffeta. High fashion, meet high risk. Now imagine you're not strolling through drawing rooms or fanning yourself at a garden party. You're working, really working. If you're a child chimney sweep, you're wearing a threadbare shirt, soot-slick trousers, and a cap crusted in ash. You're probably barefoot, because boots are expensive and your job depends on fitting into flues the size of a dog door. For enslaved people or indentured servants, clothing isn't about identity, it's about endurance. Coarse linen shifts, ill-fitting trousers, homespun fabrics that chafe in summer and soak through in winter. Comfort is not on the menu. Workers across the board wore what they could afford, or what was handed down. Worn-out coats, patched breeches, aprons stained with grease or dye. And still, appearances mattered. A maid might own one decent dress for Sunday church, carefully hidden during the week. Some enslaved women added beads or wrapped fabric into vibrant headscarves, a rare sliver of personal expression amid oppression. Historians still argue whether these moments of style were small acts of defiance or survival strategy. A quirky note? Some factory girls carried spare collars in their pockets to swap out when inspectors passed by. Fashion espionage. Victorian style. So yes, even when life worked you to the bone, your clothes had something to say. Winter rolls in like a freight train made of sleet, and your wardrobe has no mercy. You pile on layer after itchy layer. Wool undergarments, flannel petticoats, thick stockings, and if you're lucky, a heavy cloak lined with something vaguely warm, often rabbit fur if you're upper class. And if not, hope and prayer. Gloves become essential, not for style, but to keep your fingers from going numb as you milk the cow or carry coal. And boots? Made of stiff leather that leaks when it snows and stiffens when it doesn't. Welcome to 19th century frostbite fashion. Indoors, things aren't much better. With no central heating, your breath fogs in the parlor. So you wear your coat inside, layering shawls like a human onion. A lady might sport a quilted wrapper, a kind of cozy robe you pray no one important sees you in. Historians still argue whether these winter garments were recycled year after year or adapted each season with minor tweaks. Dress diaries suggest both. And for the quirky fact of the day, in some regions, women sewed tiny bags of hot coals into their muffs to warm their hands. Yes, actual fire in your pockets. What could go wrong? So if you're dreaming of winter coziness, remember this: Victorian style was less hygge and more hypothermia chic. Underneath all those layers lies a secret kingdom of underwear, and trust me, it's not what you're imagining. First comes the chemise, a loose, usually white cotton shift that protects outer clothing from your skin. Then come the drawers, baggy, knee-length, and crotchless. Yes, you heard that right, crotchless. For, shall we say, practical reasons when nature calls under 5 petticoats. Over that, stays or corsets, depending on the decade, boned with whalebone, metal, or even cording. They reshape your torso with the loving grip of a boa constrictor. Then there's the cage crinoline, a steel hoop skirt that makes you wider than a dining table. It's not just a fashion statement, it's an obstacle course. You have to move sideways through doors, avoid gusts of wind, and hope no one steps on your hem. Historians still argue whether women genuinely loved the freedom crinolines gave their legs or simply endured them because the fashion machine said so. Meanwhile, men aren't off the hook either. They layer long woolen underwear beneath their breeches, itchy, sweaty, and no elastic in sight. A quirky tidbit? Some Victorian ladies wore modesty panels to hide ankle outlines beneath translucent stockings. Because, apparently, nothing was more scandalous than a shapely shin. By now, you're wearing 10 pounds of underthings, and your bladder is deeply regretting tea time. But as the fire crackles low and you slowly peel away each layer, you start to understand the strange rhythm of the era. Every garment had its purpose, sometimes beautiful, sometimes brutal. The night wraps around you gently. And for now, you're warm, you're home, you're finally undressed. What do you think about this topic? Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to stay updated on our latest videos. We'd love to hear from you. For now, goodbye and see you next time.